Hello and welcome to Wake Up, Take a Minute with Andrea Holman. I hope you are ready to have a wonderful time today learning about my ministry and others who are encouraging you to grow and show love. In a world of noise, it's hard to know who to listen to and who to tune out. Thank you for your bold choice today listening to Wake Up, Take a Minute with me, your host, Andrea Holman. Hello, and thank you for joining us at Wake Up, Take a Minute podcast. This is Andrea Holman, and today is a very exciting day for me because I have the honor and the privilege to have my really good friend and sister, Sonia Jackson Myles, join me today. And I have been waiting for this for such a long time. She knows it. She is just an incredible, loving woman. And I am so honored to have you as a friend, as a mentor, as a sister, and really have had the opportunity to get to know you and feel your love and encouragement through your friendship and the programs that you have going on with now for quite some time. And I cannot wait to dig into everything that is going on with you. So welcome, Sonia.
Oh, it is such an honor to be here with you, Andrea. We have been talking about this for how long? And our crazy schedules just did not allow it, but everything in God's timing is perfect.
Yes, that's absolutely true. That's so true. And I am so thankful to have you on here. We have been discussing this last week. We were talking about bullying and trauma. And I know that you and I have discussed this for such a long time to be able to have the opportunity to speak on that subject that is so near and dear to your heart. And it's really your purpose. It's really what you have found is your true calling and your purpose that God has laid on your heart. And it's the calling of your life. And it has been basically the essence now and the substance of your everyday essentials for your life to move forward with and really impact people. And we love you for that. We love you for that.
Oh, thank you. Not easy. It's not easy operating in purpose. Mm-hmm. See, everyone thinks that it's glamorous and, that's fun. No, this is hard work. Yes. And it's hard work because I'm focusing on the heart work. And, I use #heartwork.
Yes.
This is not an easy assignment, but boy, is it fulfilling.
Yes. And I know there's been many sleepless nights for you. You talked about that. Yes. At one point you said, I'll just sleep later. I got to get this work done. I'll sleep later. And you always talk about the heart work because it is very hard to do that work. Not only is it time consuming, it's difficult emotionally and mentally and spiritually to look through that work and to really find the core essence of what's happening with you. And you and I talked about that even last week, how we need to more lead with love now than ever. And part of that work is really doing that heart work and finding out what that looks like for each of us and moving forward with that, what we're called to do in purpose. So I love that. I would love to tell you all just a little bit about Sonia. You and I have talked before. God has just blessed you immensely, and you are always very quick. And I love that. You're always very quick to say, it's all God. It's all God. It's all him. And he laid a very pivotal moment in your life before you to take that step. And taking that step wasn't easy. Like you said, it's hard work, but it was so rewarding. And I love that. Our Miss Sonia Jackson Myles is the founder and CEO and president of the Sister Accord. You have over 20 years of experience in the corporate field at Ford Company, Gillette, and then at Procter Gamble, where I had the divine pleasure to meet you and become friends with you. You have developed so many programs for leadership development, unity, mentorship, education, and relationship work, not just in the corporate world that you have been recognized for, but also now through your new work that you're doing with the Sister Accord. And we'll talk a little bit about that this time. And we'll also have another episode that will really go into detail about the Sister Accord, the foundation with the Sister Accord, and exactly what that means, talking about eradicating bullying and lifting up our sisters and loving each other and encouraging each other. And her book, which is amazing. It is 51 ways to love your sister, the Sister Accord, and there is also 51 ways to love your children as well. Both of these books are incredible. You all should read them. Just great, wonderful stories and insights, and very encouraging to anyone who is looking to go down that route and do some heart work in their life as well. Some of your awards I'll start back in 2008 with the Essence Magazine's Women of Power Award,
Yes.
Bloomberg's Reports History Makers in 2009. You have the Trumpet Award Foundation's Women in High Heels in 2010. You were inducted into the FAMU School of Business and Industry Hall of Fame in 2011 and was named one of Black Enterprise Magazine top executives in marketing and advertising that same year. Wow. In 2012, you were named the FAMU's 125th most outstanding alumni in celebration of the university's 125th anniversary and was awarded the Gillette Legacy Award. I can only imagine that the work you did there was pivotal for taking you to where you are today. You were nominated in 2013 for the NAACP's Image Award in the debut author category for your book, The 51 Ways to Love Your Sister, and was honored with an Exemplary Achievement Award from the State of Ohio Senate. I didn't even know this, which is the highest honor that you can get outside of a military person who has passed away for the Sister Accord. So how amazing. I'm sure that just had to be one of those aha moments. Tell us about your story and your journey, and I'm just excited for people to get to know you.
Oh, you are so kind, so kind. You know, when I think about my journey and I think about the fact that I am alive right now, it is an amazing, amazing thing because I'm a miracle. I mean, there were so many things from even conception. My mother and father were told that they couldn't have any more children. She would always talk about how, you know, you're just such a blessing to us, Sonia. You're such a blessing to us. And so I am very close with my parents, and my mother has transitioned to heaven, but she's still with me.
Yeah.
But that is something that she always talked about. And it's a story of believe. When you believe, amazing things can happen in your life.
Yes.
My mother and father had to believe, even though the doctor said one thing,
right?
They had to believe that they could conceive again. And so I am a miracle. It's a very simple way of breaking it down. I'm a miracle then that had to really, truly understand what's my purpose. Like, what was placed on the inside of me as I was formed in my mother's womb, the womb that was told that it could no longer carry life. And so I had to go on a very difficult journey of understanding.
Are you sure it wasn't easy, Sonia? Are you sure it wasn't easy? Because that's what I hear.
Sister, it needs to be a movie.
It does. It really does. Movie. It does. I'm waiting for it to come out.
Yes, but it was, man, I had all the trappings of success, right? I had worked hard in school. I had an amazing career, continuing to progress. I loved my work. I loved the work that I did in corporate America.
Right.
But God kept saying to me, listen, you're successful there because I allowed you to be, but that's not what I created you to do. And I was afraid of moving away from what I was comfortable in. I had learned corporate America, and I had learned from Ford, Gillette, and P&G how to operate, how to connect with people, how to really effectively lead, right? So I was one of those people who would come into an organization, and because I think big and I'm a dreamer and creative, you know, I would see things. I was able to connect the dots. And people would always ask me, how did you get suppliers to do that? How did you get those kinds of results? And all I did was made sure that I used the core and essence of what God placed inside of me. And that is, I love myself, and then I can extend that love and respect to others. And so we just had some really great relationships. I had great relationships with my suppliers. I had great relationships with people inside the company. And that allowed me to then be able to perform effectively. And so it's a blessing when I sit still and listen to you. I'm like, Gosh, I forgot about that. I forgot about that. But when I launched my very first tea party in Cincinnati, and that, oh, our state senator, Eric Kearney, came to that event and gave me that award, I thought I was going to just lay out on the floor.
And your tea
so
party,
significant.
Yes, your tea party is a result of the work that you did with the Sister Accord, because that is part of your platform to be able to go out and share that love and encouragement with others that you learned, and also God drawing that out of the essence of who you were, that relationship building capability to be able to cross barriers and break down walls, extend that so that people really, really felt the love and that relationship that you offered them. And that was how you were able to make those changes in life. People are just drawn to you. And I love the opportunity that you actually had to speak. And I know you know the moment I'm talking about. It's when you first revealed the Sister Accord to the world. And will you give us a little just take on how you were invited, what happened, and specifically what was said to you right after you made the speech that you made? And not to bring any politics into this whatsoever at all. This is all about love and encouragement. But you all, this is a God thing, because this woman has been trained and brought up and taught and has been a blessing all the way through to be set up for these exact moments in your life and to live out your purpose. You are here for this moment. Hey y'all, this is Andrea Holman. If you would like to learn more about me, my upcoming music releases, speaking events, songwriting, or podcast that's happening now, please go on over to my website at andreaholman.com, or you can visit my Facebook at Official Andrea Holman. There you can get all the latest and greatest. So come on and tell us what it was, girl. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do. And I received a text message on Inauguration Day from my sister, Mickey Taylor. And she was going back to when the Sister Accord was brought to life.
Right.
I was asked to speak at an inaugural event for President Obama's first inauguration on Capitol Hill, and was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to talk about?
You were like, wait a minute, how do they know who I am? What's happening?
Yeah, I'm like, me? You know? And I went to bed one night. I prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed about it. And one night I had this dream, and I saw myself, I was in front of large crowds, and just all these things happening. God speaks to me very clearly in my dreams. And I was like, what is this? What is that? I didn't quite understand it. But what I always tell people is your purpose oftentimes will lie right in your soul regarding the things that really matter to you, the things that bother you, the things that really get under your skin. Right. And so I saw this dream, and I saw this Sister Accord resolution. I looked at this thing and I said, wow, what is this? Like, what is this? So I called the lady back, Candace, who had invited me. And I said, now, I know you have your program and everything, that your agenda is all set. I said, but I want to ask you, can I close your event out with a resolution versus speaking? So here I am asking this lady. Now, she called me to ask me if I would speak.
Hello.
And here I am, asking her if she would change her program.
Sure, why not?
I'm like, ooh, that takes a lot of nerve, but I got the courage to ask.
Yes.
And after I read the Sister Accord resolution to her, there was silence. And what I always say, one of my original quotes is, in the absence of information, people make stuff up. When they make it up, they typically go negative. So the fact that she was silent, my mind had already started with the negative self-talk. Oh, she hates it. Oh, why did I do this? Why did I say that? Why did I ask her? Why did I share it? All this stuff. She then opens her mouth and says, Sonia, this is so incredibly beautiful. You will be before kings and queens with the Sister Accord. And I'm like, okay, lady, what are you talking about? I'm just trying to do a great job for you on Capitol Hill. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Right.
So Mickey Taylor from Essence, she's from Essence magazine, by the way. Mickey Taylor was at the event. And she says, sister, there was a shift in the universe when you presented the Sister Accord. Did you feel it? And I'm like, okay, here's another person saying stuff that I don't understand. Right. What are you talking about?
Right.
And I had to really wrap my mind around all these people coming up to me. They were from all over the globe. And they said, what are you going to do with this? What are you going to do with this? This is huge. This is significant. This is what my mother remembers. This is, you know, I mean, it was just, I was just overtaken by it all. I was just like, wow, what just happened? You know how you feel like sometimes you have these out of body experiences?
Yes.
And I sat on the Sister Accord for a while because I was focused on work and because I was afraid. And, you know, a lot of times we are afraid of our light. That's why I talk to people all the time. Walk in the light, embrace the light. Because so often we're afraid of it.
Right, right.
But that's where amazing things happen in the light. And so I finally said yes to God. Here I am, just use me. After he laid me out on my back and and the doctor said that I had a herniated disc. I just want to know, where is that herniated disc now? Because once I birthed everything that he asked me to, I have no pain. No pain at all. On my back.
God says there won't be any pain without birthing something new, the new beginning. It will happen. And I mean, that is evident to that point right there.
And what's so powerful about that, and Mickey Taylor reminds me of this, she said, because of your obedience, Sonia, you know, you unleashed this whole notion of women treating each other with love and eradicate mean girl behavior. Once you unleashed it, see, that was your assignment. So once you had to unleash it, because it was yours. Now, all of these other people can do their part in bringing it to life. So it may not be labeled Sister Accord, but the fact that you unleash this and put this into the universe has allowed other people now to do what they needed to do.
Exactly. And it's amazing to me that you were able to do that, even though at the moment and then at the time you really didn't recognize it. You really didn't recognize it for what it was, because sometimes we have these things that happen and it is just so true that we try to hold on to things so tightly and control them and do everything that we think we need to do to make it work and make it happen and let it be out there. But it's really in God's control. And when you give that over to God to let him take it, there is nothing that we could dream big enough or large enough on such a grand scale that he can't do, and then some, like way beyond some. We don't have the ability. We don't have that ability to take it and do with it what he can. We have to obey that calling to be able to get led to our purpose so that he can use us for it. And and you, girl, you unleashed it. You did. You took it and it has gone internationally. It has just gone amazingly. I would like to take a step back, because one of the things I want to talk about is some of the things that led you to this. You had been trained corporately, you had been raised in church, you had all these experiences and these things in life that were just really wonderful things. But along the way, there's always the stumbling block. Along the way, there is the trauma. Along the way, there is the bullying. It's in those moments that happen to us that we either allow them to define us, or we have to make the decision at some point in time to say, I've had enough. I'm no longer going to walk in this. If you would, just share with us some of the things that happened in your life that weren't so nice and weren't so good. Some of the traumas and things that, and the bullying that led you into this place where you had a lot of work. When you talk about the heart work, you had work to do on you as well. And that's very poignant to what happened for you. So would you mind sharing with us a little bit about what happened and how you got to where you were to make that pivotal change when God said it's time?
Yeah, I didn't even realize it. I didn't even call it bullying when I was growing up and was chased by my neighbor's dog every day. Every day. I'm running from Buster every day. I
remember that. I remember Buster.
It's really sad when you think about what happens when we're bullied.
Mm-hmm.
What happens deep inside of us? What happens to our spirits and souls?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Down to the DNA, right? Because what happens is sometimes you take on all this stuff that people are saying about you, and before you know it, you are operating totally outside of yourself.
Right.
And you and I both know when we do that, when we get sucked into other people's dysfunction, we know what happens.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't even realize that I was being bullied. Like, him saying, get her, get her, Buster, get her. And I'm running. See, Buster never caught me. Buster never bit me.
Mm-hmm.
But in my mind, he had.
Mm-hmm.
So think about all that I had to shake. So I had a phobia of dogs for most of my life.
Right.
That really impeded and impacted. I spent a lot of time in Europe and places. Dogs are everywhere. Mm. They're in the hotels. They're in the restaurants.
Yes.
And so I would find myself freaking out. I tried to cover it up, but I'd be freaking out. I'm like, that dog is going to come get me. He's going to bite me. So it really had a negative impact.
It had traumatized you to a place of fear. It froze you every time you saw that. And it was because this person had intentionally released this dog. He made the choice for you to bully you. I talk about, when I was younger, my brother was a boxer and a wrestler, and you get into the ring and that there's a set of rules that you participate into that. And you both make the decision to enter and have that have that confrontation and that fight and that wrestle match. But when you're being bullied, the choice isn't yours. It's been taken away from you because the power has been taken away from you. He created this cycle for you.
Yeah. And all I was trying to do was ride my bike, right? I wasn't bothering him, but that's what happens. Bullies don't care about that. Right? Like I said, I didn't realize it until later in life, but I knew that this thing was controlling me in ways that I didn't like. And so I decided to buy Socrates, who's a baby, a Bichon Frise.
Your little baby.
After a very embarrassing situation where my boss's dog was let out after we were at a global meeting. I knew then when I asked him to put his dog away, I said, I'll never get another promotion ever at work. That's
You're cool. Like, I am done. It is over for me.
But someone let the dog out, and there's the dog coming towards me, and I'm screaming, and I was so embarrassed.
Didn't you jump over a couch?
Oh, I was up on the back of the couch.
Yeah, I know. I started laughing. So but I've heard the story so many times, and I've heard you laugh. I know. It was real for people who are really afraid of it. I apologize. I'm not really laughing at you. I'm laughing at Sonia. I'm not laughing at you. But I do understand the phobia. The phobia is very real. Yes.
I had to do something about that because I didn't like the fact that it controlled me.
Yes.
And so I decided to buy a dog, and Socrates has changed and touched my life in so many different ways. And so conquering that fear gave me the confidence to really say, you know what? God's got me.
Mm-hmm.
He's got me in everything.
Right.
Everything. I can do all things. Isn't that the scripture? What's left out of all? Nothing.
Nothing.
So once I did that, it gave me the courage to then make some decisions that I had to make to pursue my entrepreneurial path and leave a role that I really enjoy, where I was responsible for all packaging globally for Procter Gamble, about $6 billion.
Right.
And, you know, so I loved packaging. I love the world of marketing.
Yes.
But God said, no, you have something else to do. And so I left P&G a little over 7 years now.
Yeah. And I know you had a corporate experience as well, that when you look back at it, you knew that you were being bullied at the time. And that was one of the things you had to also walk through before you could really say yes to this. Can you share a little bit about that for people who are in those situations?
Absolutely. You know, oh boy, this is tough, but you know, I had a problem with forgiveness. I had a real problem with forgiveness. I am so incredibly, fiercely loyal. Like, I'm going to take care of you. I will protect you. Fierce, right?
Yes.
And so when someone would betray that trust, for me, it was like, all right, all right, all right, right? But I was not forgiving. And I had a God moment during my prayer and meditation time where God was like, you're not that important. Come on, get over yourself. You're not that important that people aren't going to do something to you. So get over yourself. That is tied to ego. You have got to learn how to forgive. If you want me to forgive you, you're not perfect.
Right.
I have to give you grace. You have to learn how to do the same thing for others.
Right.
And it was a huge, huge lesson. And I had to use it with a boss that I had who was just mean. And I had never had that happen. You know, what's going on here? I had decided to have a courageous conversation with her that shared how her behavior was impacting me. And what I realized is that while I was receiving the brunt of the behavior, it really wasn't about me. Right? So we have to understand that people are dealing with their own stuff. And sometimes we just happen to be convenient. We just happen to be in the right place. And so that forgiveness that I extended to her, it was like God said, now you get it. So once I did that, man, it's like he just added all these things unto me. I can literally be saying, I write in my journal, and I keep a number of different journals with me. And so I'm writing things down, and I'll say, it would be really nice to connect with so-and-so. I'll write it down. I'll get an email. I'll get a text message. I mean, like, really amazing things happen.
Right.
Where he has just already gone before me and connected the dots. He has already put me on someone else's mind. It happened that way once I walked in forgiveness.
Yes.
Because none of us are perfect.
No.
Now, I'm not saying allow people to misuse you and abuse you over and over and over again.
No.
We don't do that.
No. God doesn't call us to do that.
He doesn't call us to do that. And so I had to learn how to give grace. I had to learn how to be patient and kind and loving consistently when perhaps I didn't want to be.
Right.
And that really helped to shape how I put the sister accord all the programs and everything together, the curriculum that's in schools. That is what I used to be able to develop that.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
and living through the experiences, that's the part of the journey. That's the part of the journey that a lot of times when we're living through the challenge and the trial, we don't understand it. And sometimes we can't even put words to what we are feeling, but he always has meaning and purpose in what is going on and what is happening and what we are experiencing in our life, even at the most gut-wrenching moments of my life. And I've shared with you before, it has purpose because they brought me to here. And if I hadn't have lived through each one of those things, it just like you in your life, we would not have arrived at the moment we needed to arrive at. To be able to learn the lessons, to pull from it so that we can be who we are going to be in serving out the purpose we have. And that's just, to me, is what's so beautiful about your story. But there's just so much more to Sonia's background and the things that she's lived through and a lot of the things that she has risen above. And it all goes back to her really wanting to serve and encourage others and to be that person who shows up consistently. It's very freeing because it opens up that avenue and that pathway for relationship, which is what is so key for you and what you're doing. It's using those words in the right way to love and nurture and honor people instead of bullying them and tearing them down and creating trauma, because our words are so important and they carry so much weight. And everyone is valuable. Everyone is needed. Everyone is special. And we are required to do the work we're supposed to do. And I am so glad that you found yourself walking in your work, because if it wasn't for you answering your call, I would not be where I am today, answering mine and living out and walking out my purpose. And that's just really the truth of it. It really is the truth of it, because of what happened and how God brought us together in the second act of our story. And we will share that in the second episode of the story as well. I appreciate you and appreciate all your time that you've given us today for this episode. And I'll let you finish out saying a few words as well to everyone listening here today.
Well, sending lots of love through the airwaves. You know, this is another love fest. I call all the events that I do love fest. I just want everyone to recognize that there is always a seat at the table for excellence. Like even when people are trying to move you out of the way, when people are trying to make you feel less than, there is always a seat at the table for excellence. Focus on being excellent. It may not be at the table that you're at right now, but there will be a table for you. There will be a table prepared before you that is for you. And that's what we have to remember, so that we don't get sucked in to other people's dysfunction and not operating in the core and essence of our being.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. And on that note, Sonia, thank you so much for joining us today, this week on this episode. I hope that everyone will reach out to you and learn more about your programs and what you're doing and how you're loving and encouraging others. And all of her information will be shared below as well. And you will have the opportunity to hear a lot more coming up in this next episode next week with Sonia Jackson Myles from the Sister Accord. Thank you so much for being with me today. I love you, sister. I appreciate you.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for spending your time with me. I appreciate it. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, be you, because I'm taken. Hello, this is Andrea Holman. You're listening to Wake Up, Take a Minute podcast. I wanted to share with you my mission today. My mission is to help others be authentic and grow, to find their wake up, take a minute moment and step out into their purpose. Remember, be you, I'm taken. This episode is sponsored by In His Hands Promotions and Ministries, helping others share their gifts and God's message of love. You can contact them at info.inhishands@gmail.com.